smart.
And I sent you guys the tweet today. I forget exactly who it was from, talking about supposedly what's going on behind the scenes in Seattle. Russell Wilson thinks he's a top 5 quarterback ever, which I think is
top 10.
I mean, he said he thinks he's a top 5 quarterback ever, and he doesn't think he's being treated as even a top 10 quarterback ever. If he thinks he's a top 5 quarterback ever, I love Russ, but he needs to take a long walk on a beach somewhere and reconsider some things because there's issues there. But the reason I bring that up, chemistry is big in the NFL, especially chemistry between a quarterback and his head coach and play caller. And if that chemistry is not there, if not everybody is, in lockstep, then there's going to be issues, and you can't afford to have that friction in a division where everybody is going to be firing on all cylinders. So I think that could definitely hold the Seahawks back this year.
I don't think that's crazy for Wilson to say.
Top 5 ever.
Yep, I really don't.
No, what's wrong with you?
I really don't. Name me 5 that are better.
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre.
Brett Favre's not better than Wilson. Nope, he's not.
What are we talking, though? Are we talking about, I'm stats,
talking
like everything put together?
Everything put together.
All right, so Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Who did I say after?
Aaron Rodgers.
I think
that's 3 definite.
Drew Brees?
Drew Brees is not better.
Joe Montana?
He's not better.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Peyton Manning.
As a quarterback, Joe Montana, he has the reins.
You had Drew Brees.
If we're talking about strictly as a QB, like skill,
he says he's a top 5 QB all time.
No, yeah, I know. If we're talking about that, Wilson is better than Montana. He is better than Montana.
Well, we're talking all the time, so everything is included.
The only 3 I see that are better than Wilson that I'll put like skill for skill, Peyton, Rodgers, and Brady. I think he's better than Brees. He is better than Brees. He's better than Brees. He is.
I can't.
Brees in his prime.
I ain't even gonna say no.
Brees in his prime was what, 2014, 2015 when they were missing playoffs. Even with bad defenses, Russ has led the Seahawks to the playoffs.
I don't know. I listen. I think he.
What about Dan Marino?
He's better than Dan Marino too. He is.
I think you're just saying things at this point.
I mean, you could check Dan Marino's playoff stats, how he did in the playoffs. He was pretty bad in the playoffs. Dan Marino, he started his career really great, but you look at his stats, and he trended down towards his career.
So you think Russell's the top 5 quarterback all the time?
I definitely think it's not a crazy thing to say. Like Jack was saying, go take a walk on the beach.
No, most people thought it was a crazy thing to say. Jack wasn't the only guy who found that crazy.
I think it's not crazy to say that.
I think it's pretty crazy to say. My bigger issue with what's happening is he wants more control there, but if I've been led to believe that the Seahawks gave him control of the offense this year, and it tanked in the second half of the season. So, I mean, you can understand why the Seahawks wouldn't want to give him control of things when in the second half of the season the offense took a major hit.
I'm just saying that I think that Wilson is not a. I think Wilson is a debate. I mean, I only guys I have better than him is Mahomes, Brady, Peyton, and Rodgers. But when you talk about efficiency as well, I mean, Brett Favre was a turnover machine. I don't know why you try to act like Wilson was not better than Brett Favre. Brett Favre is literally a turnover machine. He's great and all, but Brett Favre's top 10, but he's not top 5. Wilson is better than Brett Favre.
You said that as if Russell Wilson was top 5, though.
It's a debate. I think you can make.
I think it's more of a debate.
You can make a debate.
We could have that debate another day, but the main thing that I'm getting at is if his big thing is he wants control of the offense, like he had that this season, and he didn't prove himself to do that good of a job. They were awesome in the first half, but the second half they really slowed down. So if his big problem is that Pete Carroll's offense is predictable, then what does that say about his own offense?
Pete Carroll's not the OC. That was Brian Schottenheimer.
From what I've understood is he wants more control of the offense, and he got control of the offense this past season, and it did not end well. I think it's at the end of the season, the offense was nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the season. So, like, he had his opportunity and it didn't work out. So, why would they feel good putting the reins in his hands again if it just didn't work out this past season? You know what I'm saying?
I think most of that stuff that they didn't work out with was Brian Schottenheimer, because he has a predictable offense.
But I'm saying if they Russ is saying that he wants the reins, but from what I've read, they gave him the reins to the offense this past season. I don't know, if I have that wrong. I genuinely don't.
I mean, where did you get that from?
Just from what I've read online. I mean, looking at a bunch of different things.
Where though? That like I'm asking you where?
Online
like
articles. Like I don't know the exact source. I would have to go back and get it.
I don't know. From what I've seen, from what Seahawks fans have been saying, and that's the reason why Brian Schottenheimer was let go, because he didn't do a great job, and even when he was with the Jets, his play calling was very predictable. So I think Russell Wilson just wants more control of the offense, which is fine. every great quarterback should have that. Peyton Manning had that. Tom Brady had that this season with the Buccaneers. So, why not? Why not?
Well, because from what I've read, and maybe I have it wrong, he had control of the offense this season, and they tanked in the second half. And when the defense started to get really good, if the offense played at the level it did at the start of the year, with the way the defense played, if that's true,
okay, I'll give it to you. But personally, I don't believe it. But if it's true, whatever. I'm just saying that when you talk about Montana has Super Bowl rings, no doubt about it. But when you look at their stats and just their game style, how they play, you could say Wilson is better, Like, you can say Wilson is better. You give Wilson Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and the guys that Joe Montana had with that elite defense, I think he could win as well. He won with the Legion of Boom in his rookie year, second year in the league. So he has proven he can win. Russell Wilson, he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks of all time. He throws a lot of touchdowns. He can run, and he doesn't turn the ball over much. He really doesn't at all. That's why to say Brett Favre is better than Wilson is freaking ridiculous. Because Brett Favre,
all I said was Brett Favre. That's it.
I love Brett Favre, but he's not better than Russell Wilson. He's not better than Russell Wilson.
That's just the first time.
I love Drew Brees, but Russell Wilson is just as accurate as Drew Brees. Has a better arm than Drew Brees and can run. He can run, and Drew Brees can't run. He's a stationary quarterback, which is fine. He has great pocket presence, but Russell Wilson, I'll take him over Drew Brees. I would. Brees won a Super Bowl with the Saints. Russell Wilson won with the Seahawks. But when you look at when Drew Brees had horrible defenses, they didn't make the playoffs. Russell Wilson has made the playoffs with horrible defenses. You can make that argument. I know, in terms of longevity, Brees has that. But in terms of quarterbacks in their prime, who's better, I don't think it's crazy to say Russ is top 5. I think he should feel that way because it's probably true.
Yeah, I get it. Prime. I don't know. I think when you're talking about top 5 all the time, though, you put everything in. If you're talking prime for prime, you would take Russell Wilson.
This is the thing, though. This is the thing where we get confused. If you're comparing yourself to a player, right, and you're saying, "Am I better than this player?" Let's just talk about basketball. You're saying, "I'm better than this basketball player." Are you gonna say, "Oh, but man, he scored 1,000 points in high school. Oh, he did all this, he did all that"? Or are you gonna be like, "Nah, I could beat him"? You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Have you ever played a guy who was a great high school player?
That's fair.
You didn't have the accolades, but you're better than him.
Yeah, I get that's more of a personal thing, though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is you don't have to necessarily have the accolades to be better than somebody. Especially when it comes to Super Bowls and stuff like that, because it's very much a team thing. Brady, I put him there because not only has Brady had the team success, but nobody is touching him. There are very few people that touch him when it comes to personal stats and individual stats as well, which is why I put Brady up there. But Wilson, when you look at what he can do on the football field, I think that it's not crazy to say he is top 5. And I'll give him that respect.
But you understand why when you say something like a top 5 quarterback ever,
everything gets brought up. Everything.
That's the first thought.
That's what people are going to debate Super Bowls, all pros, whatever that is. But, at the end of the day, when you just dive into it and you say, okay, what can this quarterback do better than Russ? What can Russ do better? Russ matches up with almost every quarterback to ever play this game. And I think right now, yes, he's probably a top 4 quarterback right now, but that's because 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time are playing, Mahomes and Rodgers. And then who are you putting over?
Oh, wait, so Mahomes is so then let me ask you, is Mahomes the top 5 quarterback ever?
Yes, no doubt about it.
Talent-wise.
Yes, no doubt.
Okay, so Mahomes, Peyton, we said Rodgers, Brady. So you would put Russ at 5.
It wouldn't be crazy to say. I'd put him over Marino, I'd put him over Favre, I'd put him over Montana. If we're talking greatest, then we taking accolades into the conversation. But if we're talking,
then you have to say the best. That would be if I'm saying I'm a better quarterback than you, that's just me saying skill for skill, I'm better than you. But to say greatest, that's when everything
he said
is jumping.
best. He said best.
Oh, I didn't hear Jay say that.
That's the thing, So I think
I don't remember exactly what
he can match up with almost any quarterback when it comes to that aspect. And I think Russell Wilson wants more control because he has been feeling like he has not gotten that respect. He hasn't won MVP. When I thought he probably should have been closer in the race versus Lamar. He should have won it this past year. He has not won the MVP when he feels like he should have won it. So he wants to have more control of the offense so he could probably make a case for himself. I just say this. I don't think it's crazy for Russ to say. I know it sounds crazy because not only do when we hear athletes say that, we don't like it because, one, we think it's arrogant. It depends. It depends on who's saying it.
Yeah.
If Mahomes were to say it, we would love it.
No, if Brady said it, it's like
we would throw parades for Mahomes if he said it. But if Lamar said it, if Russ said it, if anybody else but Mahomes or Brady said it, we would despise it. Even if it came from Rodgers, we would despise it. But that's why, because Wilson said it, it has gotten that attention. It has been despised. But I will say this. I will say, I want my quarterback to feel that way. I like that Russ.
Agree.
I like that Russ does feel that way, and he matches up with any quarterback of all time.
It's his fault because the way. Well, I don't know exactly what he said, but the way the tweet was worded was he believes the rift between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks is happening is because Wilson believes he's a top 5 quarterback all time and also believes he isn't currently viewed as a top 10 quarterback all time. He thinks Seattle is holding him back with certain decisions, personnel/scheme. So it wasn't best or greatest. It was left up to interpretation, which causes a situation where I'm thinking of it one way and you're looking at it a different way. But to bring it all back to what I was saying, the fact that this is a conversation that we're having, whereas a week ago, if you asked me if I thought Russell Wilson was going to be a Seahawk next year, I would have said bet the deed to your house on it. Yeah. But now I'm seeing stuff like this, and it makes you think twice about it. Do I still think he'll be a Seahawk? Yeah, but there's clearly problems there that aren't going to be fixed over one conversation.
Yeah.
And could linger into the season, which we're talking about the 49ers, could result in the Seahawks struggling in that division next year. There's 3 other great teams in that division, so the Seahawks can't afford a misstep.
Yeah, I like you said, I think like when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, I don't know if they said it personally, but from what I understand, I don't think they never like when you're that great. And like even when in basketball, when LeBron says it, people feel like a different way.
I'm cool with that though.
Yeah, I don't think like
I think everybody should believe that.
I don't think you should come out and say it. That kind of disrespects people before you.
Just my 2 last points. Russell Wilson currently has the 2nd best quarterback rating in NFL history, only behind Aaron Rodgers. And the reason why people hate when guys say that or Russell Wilson got that backlash is because we have nostalgia. We have nostalgia to these players that we watched. It's going to happen to us. I mean, 20 years or 30 years down the line, when there's a new NBA player that's torching the league, they're going to say they're better than LeBron. And maybe they might be, maybe they're not, but regardless, we're going to defend it to the T because of the nostalgia that is associated with LeBron. And in football, it's like that as well. That's why Montana, that era is going to be like, hell no, he's not better than Montana. Hell no, he's not better than them, because the nostalgia associated with that quarterback. That it's happening with Favre. I mean, everybody loves Brett Favre, and we remember him as a risk taker and gunslinger. We don't like to talk about that he was one of the most inefficient and turnover-prone quarterbacks of all time, but that's the truth of it, But we remember the nostalgia of it.
And in his defense, he did not come out and say this. This was not a direct quote from him. This is a tweet from Dov Kleiman, who I think is a pretty reputable NFL source. So, he didn't come out and say, I'm a top 5 quarterback ever. I believe this, and this.
Yeah,
it was something that
if he believes
has been reported about his inner circle. I think he should believe that.
Yeah, no,
I think all players should have that.
Yeah, if you have that belief
themselves.
in you, I think it's cool to have the belief just to come out and say it though. It's it just disrespects the game and who came before you and how the game has evolved. That's why I would say I wouldn't personally come out and say I would believe it among my peers. I would talk about it, but I wouldn't come out and publicly say, "Oh, I feel like I'm a top 5 this, top 5 that," because there's just so many. Like you said, there's so many things to go into factor. Like you said, people know Brett Favre for being a gunslinger and all that. A lot of people probably wouldn't know what you just said after that. He was inefficient and he threw a lot of turnovers if they just think of Brett Favre or what they've seen. So it's just so much to go into it that it's hard to just come out and say. Like for people like Brady and Peyton, it's kind of easy. They don't need to say it. Like you know who they are. But it's for some people like Russell Wilson, it's kind of like you got to really dig deep into go in depth about it.
Next topic we're going to talk about is Kirk Cousins. This topic was not even on the list, but we just started to have a conversation and discussion about it. It will most certainly be a segment because of how long it went, though.
Yeah,
I think it's
seriously.
a good segment. Is Russell Wilson a top 5 quarterback? Well, so right now, for people that are commenting, do you think Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback?
They don't think that. They don't think that.